you'd get there a lot quicker and a lot more smoothly if there weren't obstacles, right? I had some friends who grew up in Michigan and they would come to college in Minnesota. And it was a long trip for them. And not just because Chicago traffic was really slow, but because they had to go all the way around Lake Michigan. It would have been a lot quicker trip if Lake Michigan wasn't there and they didn't have to go around. If they could just draw a straight line to Minnesota, it would have been a lot quicker trip. That tends to be the case in a lot of different ways, right? A trip that could have been quicker if you could travel in a straight line becomes longer when you have to go around certain obstacles. There are a lot of different obstacles that we face in life, things that get in the way of us and Jesus. And the writer to the Hebrews is going to encourage us to throw off those obstacles, those things that get in our way, and fix our eyes on Jesus. So what are those obstacles that get in our way, that take us off of the path of keeping our eyes fixed on Jesus? One of those might be guilt, where we feel guilty over a sin that we have committed. Now, to be fair, it's good to feel guilt, but after you have received forgiveness from God, if we continue to feel guilt, that's my feelings lying to me, because I have been forgiven by Jesus when I confess my sins. And so when I feel guilty, the writer to the Hebrews' encouragement is keep your eyes fixed on Jesus. Another distraction, another thing that gets in the way would be your pride. Your pride is an obstacle, and when you feel pride, keep your eyes fixed on Jesus. See him on the cross and see just what your sins did to Jesus, just what your sins deserved. That's a humbling picture for anyone. Keep your eyes fixed on Jesus even when you're feeling pride, and that obstacle will certainly be removed. When you're distracted by other things in life, where other things in life seem to be more important than Jesus, the writer of the Hebrews encourages us to throw off those things and fix our eyes on Jesus, to remember the importance of Jesus in our life and to make him our number one priority in all things. When you are oppressed or persecuted, fix your eyes on Jesus. Being oppressed or persecuted can be something that throws you off the path. It can be something somewhat of an obstacle for you, because it might be easier to take your eyes off of Jesus, and that might get rid of the oppression, that might get rid of the persecution. But the writer to the Hebrews says, throw off those things. Throw off that sin that wants to take the easier route, that entangles, and run with perseverance the race marked out for you. Keep your eyes fixed on Jesus. When you are tempted, that's an obstacle in our way, an obstacle that wants to remove us from the path to Jesus. That's what the devil wants. He wants to pull us away and tempt us. Keep your eyes fixed on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith. There's lots of different obstacles that can get in our way, that can pull us off the path, that can make this not a smooth ride to Jesus. But the writer of the Hebrews says, keep your eyes fixed on Jesus. And so what does that mean? Maybe as an example, right? That when we feel guilty, we fix our eyes on Jesus. That when we feel pride, we see Jesus' humility. That when we're distracted, we see Jesus' focus. That when we're oppressed and persecuted, we see exactly how Jesus held up during those times. When we're tempted, we see exactly how Jesus withstood those temptations. Those can be examples for us. However, more importantly and more vitally, Jesus is the perfecter of our faith, the pioneer of our faith, as the writer of the Hebrews says, which means when I feel guilt, I look to Jesus who took away my guilt. When I feel pride, I look at Jesus who was perfectly humble all the time and gave me the benefit of his humility, his righteousness. That when I get distracted, I see Jesus was 100% focused all the time for me so that he could save me. That when I'm oppressed and when I'm persecuted, I see just the lengths to which Jesus was oppressed and persecuted just to save me, to be my substitute. That when I'm tempted, I see Jesus who withstood temptation perfectly on my behalf. And not just to give me an example, but to be my champion, so that by him defeating temptation, he has given me the benefit of his defeating temptation. He has given me his righteousness. We keep our eyes fixed on Jesus because he is the author and the perfecter of our faith. And we follow him as that perfecter of our faith and throw off those things that entangle. This is what the writer of the Hebrews said. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. Let us fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who endured such opposition from sinful men, so that you will not grow weary or lose heart.